Okay, Mike, we are back, and we are not black. But we are Indians, and we're going to stay Indians forever.
We are the Cleveland Indians of the podcast scene. We are proud Chief Wahoo fans.
So the week that was a dud. All the top six either drew or lost. United City, 0-0. Arsenal drop to Burnley. They're in crisis. Spurs, Spurish, new Spurs, and Liverpool play badly and survive. But first, Mike, are we in the darkest season ever? What is going on in this season? We're seeing negative football. We're seeing the 19th century strike back. What say you, Miguel?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we are seeing a lot of that, and it makes a lot of sense for two specific reasons. A, you've got some of the most negatively minded managers as far as like pace of play is concerned, right? Jose Mourinho is in first fucking place.
Yeah, he is.
He's in first. David Moyes is doing good things, right? Yeah. You've got Ancelotti basically did a shit version of what Mourinho did against Chelsea, and it worked better than Mourinho's plan did.
Yeah.
And then you had Ole and Pep, who both played, which, by the way, as I said on the previous, they played not to lose, right? And I was surprised by Pep doing that. But yeah, and you'll go farther into that than me. But the other thing is everybody's talking about the subs. Everybody's talking about the condensed schedule.
And they're still not even doing anything with it.
They're not. But this is what they're doing with it, right? Like, look at Liverpool. They might fucking call you soon to play with all the injuries. So now you're finding that you're not getting enough subs. You're not even using them, blah, 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 blah. We can go back and forth all day. But what they're actually doing is they're putting the handbrake on. They're slowing themselves down.
The stats actually show this, by the way.
What's that?
Teams are not pressing.
Right, exactly. Where is the frenetic, psychotic, like 8-ball Liverpool that we've gotten accustomed to over the last 4 or 5 years?
It's gone. They're all and City aren't pressing either. No one is pressing because
and then you've got a certain amount of, what are you talking about? 40 to 50% of the league, maybe that is just sitting back. So the teams, Chelsea is sitting there like, well, fuck, we've got 70% of the ball. I guess we don't have to run, like, well, what do we do now? Wolves are usually one of those frenetic teams. They're sort of in a weird, like, sort of rebuilding-ish season.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that the coaches are hitting on, and I don't know if all this is true, but I don't have it's really hard to get a good sense of what the normal schedule is because it always feels like they complain about the same thing. And I'm not sure. It feels like they've been playing 3 games a week since September. They probably have.
The big teams have.
So those teams it's not a coincidence that everyone just finished their last round of the Champions League and all those teams dropped points except Leicester. Leicester somehow came out of their Thursday game playing well. And the teams with continuity who had a good bounce coming out of it, right? Like, if you remember, West Ham after the bubble were incredible. They came out like gangbusters. Mikel Antonio scored 9 goals. Villa saved their season, but then they've had continuity. Southampton have had continuity. These teams with good coaches with good continuity. And then what happened with Sheffield that hasn't won since even last season. So all these teams that have continuity, those teams seem to be playing well. The big teams seem to be like either mentally or physically exhausted. I want to go probably a little bit of both.
Definitely.
And then like we've talked about it many times, it's just like if you think you're fucking tired of COVID, try having to play soccer and be in COVID. Who knows what's happening with people's families? Who knows what people's girlfriends are like? Who knows is like, I don't want you to fly. Like, what is going on? We don't even have any sense of that part. So that everything's just down. And then, of course, there's my bugaboo of like, I fucking hate VAR. It's everywhere. It ruins every game every week. And then Liverpool seem to lose a star a week. Jota's out 6 weeks now. They get back. Trent Alexander looks lost. He was terrible. He was awful.
Yeah.
And Leicester played on, and they seem to be going there. And like Pep is now, and we go, and Pep is now is like Mourinho in disguise, and we just are like in this weird space where things are weird, and they have more games, and that's going to bring us to another thing that just came up. We just got the Champions League draw, so they're just going to carry on. So I think we're going to get.
There's one more thing. London lost it, right? We had it and lost it. There's still no fans. So that and I don't know this for a fact, but I gotta believe that they help you kick on. 60,000 fans screaming for you gives you that second gear when you need it, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, in general, the football's been decent, especially after the restart.
Okay.
Now it's slowing.
Okay. Right, exactly. It's the larger fatigue when you need that burst of adrenaline. You're not finding it anywhere, right? And it's crazy to see in the last 10 days having fans in the stands, 2,000 fans in grounds that have 40, 50, 60,000 seats. They make a difference, right? Like even just that little bit of noise.
Everton for sure.
Everton's a huge. We'll talk about it in a second, but like that's the thing. I find it kind of funny on the NBC coverage. Rebecca Lowe went to great pains out of her way to say what you're hearing is not piped in like fake sound.
They wanted to be. They were happy.
People.
They were happy.
Oh, of course, no, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. But you're like, holy shit, that's right. That's so great. There's our fans there. Now, obviously, London apparently, as of today, has gone back into what stage, whatever the fuck,
tier 3,
and they're not. Threat level midnight. They're not going to be able to have games or fans.
This is a country that survived the Blitz and bombing, and they're worried about a disease that might not do anything at this point.
Right. Well, I think the big thing is
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah, they're right near we're truthers apparently. They're right near the end, and they're like, just don't fuck it up now. Which I'm like, how could you? But it doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. But let's go to the draw. One thing we have to always emphasize is that Manchester United are out of the Champions League.
Yes,
not only that, they drew Real Sociedad and my best friend David Silva, who are top of the league in La Liga. Oh,
that's going to be a fun one. There's a few really good.
They are done.
There's a few really good Europa League draws. And by the way, there are 13 current league leaders in Europa League. You know how many league leaders are in the last 16 in Champions League?
None.
0. Not a fucking one, dude.
Not even PSG, right? Exactly.
Not even PSG. That's what I said. I was like, bullshit. PSG is, oh my God, they're actually a point behind.
Yeah. So City drew Borussia Mönchengladbach. That could be tough for them because it's a counterattacking team and they've been playing well. Chelsea drew the fucking death draw of Atletico, but they lost to Real Madrid. That's tough. We have Christmas past versus current.
You're going Christmas Carol here, and it's fucking up, pal. I know. I get it. It's December 14th.
No,
right, ready?
No. I'm saying Klopp and
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Christmas present and Christmas future with fucking Klopp and Nagelsmann, young and old. God damn it, fucking Germans. They messed everything up. So we've got Liverpool, Leipzig. Real get a very tricky draw in Atalanta. I mean, they have been good, but they seem to be falling apart because Papu Gomez, who's their great talismanic older player, wants to leave and may come to MLS, which would be a coup. And then we revisit PSG, Barcelona. Both teams just damaged. Whether Neymar is pretty badly injured, and they both have history of just really bad last 4 years,
collapsing
sometimes to each other
in the Champions League.
Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen there? PSG.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If PSG beat Barcelona, does Messi leave and go to Paris? I don't think that might be like the thing, but like,
how do we know Messi's there for this game?
Yeah, that's true, because the games will be in February.
Okay. But let's dive into the dour dud, and the less talked about this game, the better. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0.
I fell asleep.
Awful. Just not even good. And like I said, the narrative hasn't changed. This is not 2016. This is not 2017. This is not last year's City. This City is defensive. Pep is tired of losing and getting beat on the break and people giving him shit. He is Tony Pulis in disguise. We're playing 2 6s. It was Rodri and Fernandinho, and they shit going through the middle of that park.
How much of that strategy, at least specifically against United at Old Trafford?
No, it's been 6 games in a row. They're just doing it all the time.
How much of that, though, specifically to Saturday's game, how much of that was based on you lost to United 3 times last year?
Yeah. The same way.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not going to do that this time, right?
No,
like,
which is weird because no one expects Pep to do that.
He doesn't change for anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing to remember is City had the goals against of a team that was the same as their other teams, but they lost 9 times. 9 times, twice to Wolves, 3 times to United, just getting hit on the break constantly. So he just was like, I'm not doing this, because Rodri could never replace Fernandinho. And so he finally was just like, all right, I guess I got to play 2 6s, especially now that he doesn't have, like, it wasn't, you could excuse it when you had De Bruyne and Silva, right? Because you're like, well, these 2 guys are so good, no one can defend us in attack. I'll take the chance. But now we don't even have that. So it was very dour. And City had chances. And if we had taken any of them, we would have won 1-0 and no one were worried. Riyad Mahrez could have scored a goal. De Bruyne had at least
one that
2,
I think of. Which, by the way,
he blocked.
just going back to that Mahrez.
Yeah.
No, going back to that Mahrez chance, like
Too many
Kevin
touches.
De Bruyne split somebody in half, right? And he didn't finish it, and it was a good play by De Gea to come out. But I'm looking at the expected goals, 1.3 to 0.7 City, right?
Yeah.
Like, so they were about twice as good as United on the day, and just no finishing product. So
that's how City are all the time. So there was that. Then we go to we go to the Emirates, and just this shit is dour shit. And I mean, like, Arsenal are just, they're in bad shape. The first half was really poor. Same players over and over again. Again with Willian, again with Xhaka, again with Aubameyang, again with Lacazette. The same 11 and the same results. Nothing.
Right. I think that my biggest problem with Arteta right now is not the results, right? I actually am quite fond of the results. But I think how do you not play Danny Ceballos? I said it on the pre-show. I'm like, he's got to be the guy. You know what the fuck Burnley is, and you know what they're going to do? Why is he not the guy trying to pick a lock? Because he's the only thing you've got. You've been crying and banging the table for Ozil. That's not going to happen, right? But, like, he's the next best thing, and he's a far cry from it. But what else do they have?
No passers. None. Zero. Like, zero.
Not fucking one.
So they did have a good 15-minute stretch at the start of the half, but then they also could have been down 1 because Chris Wood missed a header that he scores 7 times out of 10. Yeah. But then Xhaka just fucking throws his hand into a guy's neck. VAR catches it. He's sent off, changing from a yellow to a red, and good night, Irene. Then another near red. El Neni tries to take off Tarkovsky's head. And on the ensuing corner,
so let's set the scene a little bit more. Star striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang does not have a goal from open play this season.
He does now.
Now he does in his own net. Right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So he's the guy who ends up getting an unfortunate bounce.
I mean, the game was shit. But the key thing is the post game. It's just like, it's must watch Arsenal Fan TV. DT was the voice of reason.
I did notice that.
Don Robbie just despondent, crushed. Yeah. I mean, the guy who runs Arsenal Fan TV, who's supposed to try and, like, keep all these lunatics out of the asylum, he's broken. He's like, what? I don't know what to say. Like, he has to do these interviews over and over again. And he's a real fan. And listen, say what we want about Arsenal Fan TV. It's great. It just is. Like, we're all jealous. You want your own. And it's so good. And he's just dead inside. I wait for the Mo one, the accountant, Indian or Pakistani guy, who just is so measured and controlled. And it's just great. But yeah, Arsenal are in I mean, how does Arteta survive? There's almost no way.
And you were giving me shit not 3 weeks ago for saying Arteta might be in trouble.
What? Now you were right. I thought they might win some games against Burnley.
Here's the problem. They're in 15th place.
Oh,
at 15th place, 5 points off the drop.
They're not going down. Come on.
They're not going down, but they're 5 points off the drop zone. And
he's not.
Who do they have in the festive period, Laurent? I'll tell you.
Good team.
They have Southampton. Oof. They have Everton away. They have a EFL Cup game against your city.
They're going to drop.
And they play Chelsea. Then they play Brighton 3 days later. They finally get a reprieve with West Brom and Newcastle towards right around the New Year. But that's 5 games in a row of guys.
They can't beat Newcastle. Are you kidding? They can't beat Newcastle.
No, okay, fine. But my point is that, like, you're going to, all right, of Southampton, Everton, ignore Man City because that's, although it's going to be right in the middle of everything.
They don't care about
boxing.
That.
You got Chelsea on Boxing Day, and then you've got a scrappy Brighton team. 4 games, 12 points on offer. How many do they get out of those 12 points?
They got to get 10.
No, they're not going to get more than 6.
I know. They're fucked.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that now you look at, okay, we're 12 games in. We're going to be 16 games in, 17 games in after New Year's Day.
The question is like, it's not so, it would be one thing if Aubameyang wasn't firing. They're not even getting chances.
He's not even getting shots.
He's not even shooting.
Let's do some quick math, right? 17 games will be almost 50% of the season.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah.
It'll be about 40 to 45% of the season.
Yeah.
If they get 6 points from those 4 or 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, they get 6 points from that. They're on 21 points. 40-ish% of the way through the season.
Oof. They're on pace for like a 40 point,
45,
50 point season.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing, is that we've always said 40 points, and I'm not
they're
dying.
safe.
I'm not letting the relegation chat die just yet. What?
Speaking of teams staying out of the relegation zone, Crystal Palace get a fine point against your Tottenham Hotspur.
So what? I had an argument with a few friends of mine.
Oh God. There was no reason. There was no reason they should have dropped points in this game. 0.
No, there's not. But you can't all of a sudden. You can't. And this is a larger Spurs argument. I'm not going to say on the show today, but I will soon when I get annoyed enough, which I was on Saturday. You can't look at a team, and I tweeted this from our account, that employed a mentality and a way to play that beat Manchester City 2-0, tied Chelsea, and crushed Arsenal.
Yeah.
Just absolutely demoralized them. Yeah. And then when it doesn't work one time against a scrappy Palace team who played the game for their fucking lives.
But you could have scored a lot more.
And then we could have fucking won the game late anyway.
No, I mean, it was a goalkeeping. It was one of those where like they kept you in it. But the thing is like whenever Spurs were trying to score, they could score, but they took 60 minutes of the game to not try.
Well, so hold on. The first 45 minutes of the game were the best 45 minutes of the weekend.
Yes, probably.
Okay. Strong attacking from both sides. Yeah. Spurs get a great goal. And honestly, Palace should have probably had one before halftime.
Sure.
So what Mourinho sees, he goes, all right, hold the fuck on, guys. Let's calm it back down. Yeah. Let's get back to normal. And this again, small ground. So that 2,000 fans meant a lot.
It was loud
at Selhurst.
Yeah.
It was loud there.
They were doing their thing.
They were doing great. And so he goes, all right, we're gonna lock it down. We're gonna get these 3 points. We're gonna go home. Yeah, no, and Palace just hit him hard. Benteke, by the way, reminds me a lot of Fernando Llorente in the sense that like he's just garbage. He finishes like a fucking blind man.
Right, but you can kick it to him.
He's so big, he's strong, he's great hold up. Like he was an extremely important part of their attack, despite the fact that he probably had 3 big chances.
I mean, and then you got Eze and you have Zaha, both on the same side. Really tough, really tricky, really good. The reason the Lloris goal looked bad is because it was in. I'm not going to say the corridor of certainty. It was a good ball into the box, but Lloris had to hold on to. He could have caught it, but he had to worry about
9 guys.
Right, there were 9 guys in front of him. Exactly.
I don't blame Hugo for that at all.
Yeah, but I mean, what was so frustrating to me watching it was like Spurs got their goal. They had many chances, but it felt like they weren't. There was a probably 25 minutes, a half hour there where they weren't trying to get the goal. Palace pulls the equalizer, and then they're right back at it. They have like 7 shots on goal in the last 5 minutes.
Yep. The interesting thing to me is Spurs have given up 10 goals this season in 12 games. 6 of them 60% have been from the 80th minute on. Now you can get one of them was a bullshit VAR penalty late. That didn't mean anything in the Southampton game.
The Lanzini one was absurd. That would happen one in 100.
Sure, but even still, that's 40% of all the goals you've given up. If you take those 2 outliers out, that's a lot. Yeah. So it's funny that like Spursy is undying no matter what, right? Like,
you know what though?
Saying,
whenever,
Mourinho,
yeah, well, when you've got a 1-goal lead, you've got to score those extra goals because it would have meant nothing, right? If you had been up 2-1 and then given up that goal. 2-0, it'd have been fine.
Here's the other thing.
No one would have said anything.
Here's the other thing, and we'll get on to this in a few minutes. They go to Anfield in 2 days, right? So Mourinho's sitting there looking like, hey, we got to fucking bunker down. Let's not
They're gonna
kill
go get.
ourselves.
They're gonna go for the draw.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, in this respect, in this strategy, you go.
Oh,
Okay,
I get it.
slow
Yeah,
down.
like we were talking about. You can't
It's
go
slower
hell for
football.
leather. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah. Speaking of, we had another game in London. There was lots of London games. Fulham won. Liverpool won. Fulham deserved 3 points from this game. They were good. They were good. And Liverpool created nothing. There was one shot with Salah on the turn, but otherwise, Liverpool were flat. They attacked down Trent Alexander-Arnold's side. He seemed to either be in the wrong place or not know where to be. Adama Lookman, or whatever the hell his name is, kept on getting in. They had 2 or 3 shots that Alisson had to save. It was bad. And I think Liverpool were lucky that they didn't have a penalty called on Fabinho, which as an anti-VAR person, fine, you didn't call it. But then they take 5 minutes to not overturn it. If you're going to look at it, overturn it, because it was a fucking penalty.
You're waffling.
No, I'm not waffling, but I'd rather they didn't. And then the handball to give the penalty, it's just like, that was never a handball.
No. But
historically,
in the way the rules written,
in the context of this season, it is. In the context of 150 years, it is not.
I'm not even going to listen to this episode if we keep going about VAR, because we're right on the side. It's just, it feels like it's the same song every week.
I know, but
because it fucking is.
It is, and it sucks, and it makes me crazy. Anyway, Liverpool should have lost. This was the same game as the Aston Villa game, playing a high line with teams getting in behind. Liverpool, but then they could. This is actually a bad result for you, because I think they'll get focused again.
I don't know. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what we got on Wednesday.
If Mourinho's smart, he will put Son on Trent Alexander-Arnold's side.
He is. He's on the left.
Go after him.
Yeah.
If he moves, go after him.
Right.
Find him.
So let's run through the two and a half probably other games that are left still. Leicester beat the living shit out of your boys in Brighton.
I know.
James Maddison with a fantastic effort.
Oh, that was so
2 goals.
Good. That got Lisa off her seat, and she doesn't even watch it.
Yeah, man. It's I'm worried for your boys, but I mean, Leicester look great, and they keep pace with the rest of the
Yeah, they get a win when everyone drops. Everton take out Chelsea. They played it tight. It was Mendy's first mistake, but Chelsea didn't create anything. That's weird.
I thought they were good. I thought they were quite good, actually. I'm trying to find the expected goals for that, because it felt like a lot to a little.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yes, but I mean, what I'm saying is that, what's his face? The shitty goalkeeper. He made some saves. He helped out. He was there.
Pickford.
Yeah, Pickford had some good saves there.
Pickford got wrong-footed on like 3 free kicks, and the post, he should marry them.
But the other thing is with Everton is they have no fullbacks. They're literally playing without them. They just are like, well, I guess we don't have any, so we're not going to play with any. So they did that. Wolves, Villa, choppy. That's how a derby should be. 5 cards. Game ended with people sent off. Game won in the last minute. Just people kicking the shit out of each other.
Real quick, the last 10 minutes.
Wolves should have won, but
yeah, sure. But Aston Villa get a man sent off first. They go all the way down. You know what? They don't stop attacking. Oh, I love that. God, I love me some Villa.
So good.
They go, you know what? Fuck it. We'll do it live. We're going down a man, and we're going to keep going. And they get a penalty.
Yeah.
And they slot it home.
Not Grealish. Grealish, magnanimous. Lets El Ghazi do it. Yeah. They talked about it after the game. He was like, oh, Jack said, just go do it. Like, oh, what a man. What a man. What a man.
Fantastic.
I'll quickly touch on my friends at Leeds. Ugh, it's not feeling good for them. They've given up 7 set-piece goals, and West Ham got 2 of them.
Yeah.
My guy Jared Bowen causing havoc for poor West Ham. For West Ham is now become Moyes Ham. They are now full Moyes. Souček with another goal at the back post. Agbana for a really killer header on a good cross by Bowen. Again, really good. West Brom, Villa. The less we say about this, the better. A good game, but I didn't watch it. And then my poor friends in Sheffield United are dying.
Oh, they got smashed. They
But
got absolutely
not
smashed
only
by the
that,
Saints.
they're dead inside.
Yep. Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, they're
You
just
can see it. I don't think anybody's had gone this far without a win, or there was some kind of weird stat that they've achieved, and it's not a stat you want to achieve at all.
they have
But they're sitting on 1 point.
1 point.
1 point.
9 times. There were probably like 3 games they should have won, maybe. So they're not this bad, but your record is your record. And that is that. But we have to kind of pivot really quickly because we've got fucking games tomorrow.
We've got games. I looked at the schedule. Basically every day except for like 4 days between now and January 2nd. It's
this is the festive. It's the festive season.
It's the festive season.
No, it's the Festivus for the rest of us.
2 games tomorrow. One is including your City, but one's actually kind of a big one. Like I think City will blow the doors off of West Brom, and there won't be much.
No, they don't blow the doors off of anyone. This is the problem.
I think that they would have to Fulham 2 weeks ago, and they kind of throttled back a little bit. But you know very well that City will be in gear, ready for that game. They'll come out. They'll get a goal within the first 15 minutes.
I fucking certainly goddamn hope so.
But before that, 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, we got an early game. Wolves, Chelsea at the Molineux.
Thick and fast.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Wolves to hopefully kind of take more points off of Chelsea.
They could.
And I really want to know how Chelsea lines up because, frankly, right now, this is kind of insane to think about. Chelsea are a one-man band, and his name is Reece James. Everybody else on Chelsea has been kind of a letdown so far this year, with the exception of Giroud, who, by the way, was not supposed to be in the plans at fucking all.
Yeah.
So
it was supposed to be the 3 up front, right? Yeah.
Right. Havertz is taking a long time. Werner's not really doing much yet. He's been good when he's gotten service and
he's a fast break player.
Yeah.
Right? And their teams are sitting deep against them. So he's not as valuable.
No, I don't know.
What other game? Oh, your game, Wednesday.
Well, and then there's the big one, right? So this is by far the game of the week. And let me tell you, as somebody who gets excited usually about going to Anfield, I have nerves and whatever, but like the games are usually so frenetic, so crazy. I remember
it's not going to be this one though.
It's not going to be. It's just not going to be. The last few games between Spurs and Liverpool, specifically at Anfield, were like 3, 4, 5 goal affairs. Crazy back and forth. And I remember vividly one of them with the Victor Wanyama bullet goal into the top corner.
Thunder blaster. That's the best one.
You had Salah with an incredible goal after that. The Lamela penalty at the very death. It was Kane missed a penalty, and then Lamela got one in like the 95th minute against Van Dijk, and Kane slotted that one home.
The Pochettino Spurs.
Man, it was fun. It was fun. But I don't know what Liverpool is going to look like, to be quite honest, because they're
going to be up for it. But I mean, like, what are they going to try and do?
On paper, what are they going to look like?
They still have Mane, Salah, Firmino. They still have their 3.
Do they have all 3 of them for 90 minutes again?
Yeah, they have no. Okay. What else? There's nobody else.
They have no Jota, right? So
no,
that's kind of the thing.
They got to play Origi. No, Minamino. No,
Minamino. Yeah, I'm not.
They're going to go with the 3.
I think one or both of them makes a cameo.
No, it'll be Milner will come into the midfield after, what they've been because Henderson played center back. They may have to still do that. Or Klopp is pretty good about trusting the young kids. It could be Neco Williams and the other guy Williams and Jones. So they may just play those guys. I don't know. It's the midfield where they're having problems.
I think if there were ever a time to go to Anfield, it's right now. Yeah. Obviously there isn't, but if there, like I said, if there ever were a time that you could pick, it would be coming off of a weird game where you get outplayed by Fulham.
They really got outplayed.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it's the road. They're 1-4. They're winless in 5 on the road. So
yeah, and they haven't lost since the fucking 1800s at home. But
I know.
I don't know.
You take points off them. God damn it!
Oh man, we are all Spurs supporters. If you're listening to this podcast, we are all Spurs supporters on Wednesday.
Please get them. What will I be looking at? I will be looking at Leicester and Everton.
That's a good one.
I'll be hoping that Brighton and Fulham all of a sudden is like a 6-pointer. Leeds to bounce back versus Newcastle. Hopefully that happens. there's a lot of good London stuff.
By the
West
way,
Ham, Crystal Palace is a fun game. There's a
Arsenal
lot of
could get the shit kicked out of them by Southampton
at home.
Yeah, and luckily, like I mentioned, there's not going to be fans there this time, but they could lose 2-3-0.
I'm less concerned about them. Why am I less concerned about them? If they were going to Southampton, I would say they're losing. But at home, maybe they'll be okay.
Didn't they just lose to Burnley at home?
They have this. You know what it is with losing with teams is like once you start losing, you feel like you're never going to win. Like it's really bad. Like Arsenal are winless in 6.
You go on every week about how Arsenal needs to sign Lewis Dunk and James Tarkowski. Here's another one. Okay, here's another one. Yannick Vestergaard is going to score.
Yes.
Right? He is an absolute tower over anybody Arsenal's going to try and have mark him.
But it's Ward-Prowse who puts the ball.
No, I know, of course. But all right, put it this way. Over under 5 corner kicks. If they get over 5, Vestergaard scoring 100%. Because Ward-Prowse is going to put one on his forehead.
Who's going to play midfield for they got no shotgun. He's out for 3 games.
Yeah. No, you know what?
That would be good.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because I'm telling you, whose wife did Ceballos fuck? Because he's not in the lineup, and they're an all-time bad Arsenal team right now, and he can't get in the lineup.
They'll play El Neni and Ceballos. I guess that's what they just.
What other options do we have here?
I guess Maitland-Niles and other clowns. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap it up, friend. We will see more on Thursday. We're gonna have lots of shit to talk about.
Oh my God, we're gonna be talking about this stuff. We're gonna be previewing the games on Saturday.
We're not gonna know what's happening.
We are in the festive period, folks. Buckle up. It's a lot of fun.
Hey. That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. This was a crap football, crap pundit production. We will return on Mondays and Thursdays for the Premier League season. We will talk about soccer and other things that interest us. Mike is crazy. Laurent is insane. That's why it works.